Hello and welcome, everybody. It is Coach Action Jackson, and I'm here with another episode of Client Success Stories. I am so blessed and so grateful to have Len joining me today because he demolished the program. He lost 26 pounds, 7.2% body fat, added 2 pounds of muscle, and also took 6 inches off of his waist. Incredible, mind-blowing, eye-popping, and head-turning numbers. Len, welcome to the show, and why don't you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Coach. So I'm Len Svitenko. I am probably about week 18 at this point. I've done the original 16-week program. I'm 2 weeks into Legacy. I'm married. I live here in Texas. I've got 3 kids. One is, well, at this point, 2 are in college. I had one who I just dropped off at college a couple weeks ago. And then I've got one who still lives at home with us. I work for Shell as my day job. I work in IT, so you can imagine I sit a lot, right? So I needed a program that would help me not do that. And then my not day job is I'm a captain in the Texas State Guard. I'm a battalion operations officer. So that's the quick version of me.
Wow, incredible. Congratulations on having 2 kids almost fully out of the house. That's amazing. So that's great. But outside of that, let's kind of reverse, rewind, go back. We started with obviously the great numbers, the incredible transformation, but let's talk a little bit about kind of where you were before getting into the program. Obviously, you got some active things. You got the programming thing, the IT, but then you also have the the battalion commander, which you would think is a very active thing. So where were you at physically before you joined the program?
So I'd had my tonal for, around 8 months and was doing great. I mean, was using it. I did a bunch of your programs. I did some other ones, was enjoying it, but I wasn't really seeing weight come off. I was seeing the strength score go up. I'd hit the comma club. So I was doing well. I was getting stronger, but I wasn't seeing sort of the body transformations. And was posting in the official tonal community, various thoughts and things like that. And then you popped in, hey, you're looking great. Have you ever thought about what your goals are? And I really sat and sort of had a moment where I thought, okay, what is it I want to do? I keep setting these iterative goals. I'm going to run, X amount of miles this year. I'm going to hit the comma club. But what did I actually want? And I had 2 things that sort of drove me to really commit. One is, part of the reason we got the tonal, and if I go back to one of my whys in this, is about 2 years ago, my father passed away. He had a stroke. And when that happened, we used some of the money from his estate and we got the tonal and we invested in ourselves. And I thought, I really want to improve my body and my physics, if you will, so that, I don't die premature. I knew I had high blood pressure. I knew I had a family history of that kind of thing. So I wanted to get away from that. And then the second thing is being in the Guard. I'd gone through officer candidate school. I'd gone through all the rigors of that. And at one point I was in decent shape. I'm not going to say great shape, but decent shape, enough that I felt like I could feel like I lived the standard. But then if I looked forward a couple of years, I'd gotten heavier and was pudgy. And I thought, here I am, a captain, a couple ranks above where I graduated OCS, and I'm not living that anymore. Now, can I ask my guys to look better, do more, lift more, run more if I'm over here out of shape and overweight and that kind of thing? So that was where I was at the beginning.
Wow, incredible. So there's a lot of good stuff there, and a lot of obviously not good stuff there. So let's start with one of the good things, which is like, I guess just the goal setting question. A lot of people don't really get clarity on their goals. Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about this. He says people often don't get clarity on their goals because by keeping themselves all foggy and vague, then they don't have to actually define criteria for potential success, but also potential failure. So it's a lot easier to never say, I didn't achieve this or I didn't do something if you don't actually set a clear goal. But if you don't set a clear goal, you're not actually going to achieve the goal either. I love the iPhone analogy. If you pull up your Apple Maps on your iPhone, you have to put in your starting location and you have to put in a clear, very specific and exact destination. If you don't do either of those 2 things, you're not going to get directions. So we need clarity on where we're at where we're going. That way we can create a roadmap. And that was one of the first things that we did together. And I really do credit you for being introspective and thinking about that and saying, wow, I hadn't really thought about it. I don't know where I'm going yet. And having that conversation is obviously the first step to gaining some clarity. And once you get clarity, it's like, okay, now I know where I want to go. Now let's reverse backwards. What do we need to do to get there? And then we can just lay out a step-by-step plan that we can then execute to get there. And most people never get that clarity. So I commend you on that. The second thing, and we share this, which is obviously a family history with parents that passed a little too early. So that's always just it's such a sensitive and difficult topic, but it also can be a really powerful one in a positive way, depending on your perspective of things, right? Because people can go in one of two directions. They can either repeat many of the mistakes of their parents and go down the exact same path, or they can shift and go in a different direction. And you chose to go in a different direction. So I do commend you for that. That's just tremendous. Was that the big driver for you as you were going through this? I always love talking to people about like why they wanted to go on this journey. For you, was that the fuel right there?
I think it was a large portion of it, right? And I think I've got a lot of whys, right? And we can get into various ones, but certainly I was with my dad when he passed away. I was with my mom when she passed away. She passed away when I was still in high school. She had cancer. So different, right? Not something necessarily caused by being overweight or anything like that, but still had some lifestyle things that impacted that. And so, yeah, that was a driver. The guard thing was a driver, and I have other things that have sort of pushed me. But certainly thinking about, he wasn't young, but he wasn't old. He was in his 80s, and you go, well, could he have made it to 90? Could he have made it to 100? But I'll tell you what I thought. I thought even if I don't make it to 90 or 100, I don't want to be 80 and be unable to get around and unable to walk and see my kids and hold my grandkids and things like that. And so there is sort of that perpetual motivator of, at a minimum, when you get there, be in as good a shape as you possibly can be. And so that was sort of always there as I did.
Yeah, I think that's incredibly powerful and useful. And even if it's a bit overblown in terms of your own mortality and stuff, I think it's a useful lever to pull on sometimes because it does get you to drive. So whether it's true or not, just thinking to yourself, hey, maybe I'm not going to be around as long as I would like to be, or those years aren't going to be as plentiful, as active and lively as I would like them to be, that could be a really powerful driver. And for a lot of people, the stick could be a much more powerful driver. That sort of dark energy can be a much more powerful driver forward than the carrot can be, or the light, the positive energy. And I think you need both of them, absolutely, because that's going to be the most beneficial outcome. But having a little bit of dark energy can certainly drive you too. So I think that's really powerful. Now, I love what you said earlier about I wasn't walking the talk. I was telling other people to do things, and I wasn't doing them myself. It's kind of like an integrity issue. So now you're noticing that gap, and you're saying, okay, I'm going to step it up, and I'm going to get to the next level. How do you feel now in that position, being obviously 26 pounds lighter and a heck of a lot more fit?
Very good. I mean, obviously, it's fantastic. And what's been interesting is, I'll look at pictures, I'll go back and look at how I was, or I've even had people who have commented to me, even the difference between about halfway through the program and now, they're like, and halfway through the program, I look good. And now I look at you and you look even better. And so, yeah, it feels really, really good to shed that. What's great is, motivation begets motivation and success begets success. And so now, you and I talked, what are your goals now? And it's like, oh, well, now I want to pack on some muscle. I want to, I don't want to look like Arnold, but I want to look better. I want to have bigger arms and a bigger chest and bigger thighs, and but not gain the fat. And so it sort of has been one of those things that just that start, the pushing the boulder down the top of the hill, starts to get me motivated. And now it's I'm doing the workouts, and one of the things you posted about was not doing empty volume. And so I'm focused on that right now. I get to the end of those reps and I'm like, but do I have two more? Do I have three more? Is there, if I broke this down, instead of saying I got 9, I've got 3 sets of 3 I got to get through in this, And those things are pushing me that little bit harder. And I'm seeing the PRs, and, I'm waking up and I'm like, yeah, I'm 18 weeks in. I am sore. What is happening right now? Not bad sore, but like the muscles feel work. And you go, okay, there was more in the tank, okay, we'll keep going. So it does feel good. And now I stand in front of, people that I lead or people that I'm working with in the guard, and I don't feel like, the guy who they all go, yeah, well, Captain's let himself go.
Wow. I got to tell you, I'm getting emotional just listening to you talk because I could hear the excitement in your voice. I could see the smile in your face. I could see the emotion. And it's really incredible. And I think people often sell themselves way too short, especially as they get older. They put these limitations on themselves. I can't do it because I'm 30. Can't do it because I'm 40. Can't do it because I'm 50. And I could see you now. You've eliminated that cap. You've blown through the ceiling and you're saying, hey, why not? Why not add some muscle on even at my age? Why not push it to the next level and see what I could do? I think that's super powerful, but it's also scary for a lot of people because once you achieve something like you've done and you've shown that you have the potential, that you can do it, you can work harder and you can achieve more, then all of a sudden it's like, well, if I was selling myself short then, now even in this position, can I do more? And that can be very scary because now it's like, wow, I can go even further, even more responsibility, doing even more stuff. Powerful, but also it can be quite scary. So, wow. I'm just getting emotional talking and thinking about this. This is fantastic. But all the good stuff, all the amazing stuff, what were some of the challenges that you faced along the way? Because everybody thinks, hey, it was easy for Len. I'm sure he had no problems, but I'm sure there was a ton of challenges along the way. Why don't you share some of those?
Yeah. So there were probably two that I think were moments where I was like, oh crap. Right. And so the first was we were on a holiday, and I actually, in the middle of this, right? So for anyone who's thinking, oh, well, you've got to be, perfect and dedicated. I took 10 days at an all-inclusive resort and managed to only gain a pound, right? So I will say that I was pretty excited over that. So you can do this and still have a good time. I had a great time, but it right after that vacation, we were on another very short one, and my daughter jumped on me. My daughter is 18 years old, and she's fit. She's not heavy, but she jumped on me just the right way. And man, something happened to my back, and it was not good. In fact, it was weeks that back was really bad, and it took probably a month and a half to almost 2 months before it was better, when I'll call better. And that stressed me out. And you and I communicated about it. I thought, oh, I can't. There's certain things I couldn't do, and I kind of had a setback. I tried to do too much at one point, and back started hurting again. And I was doing yoga and going to a chiropractor and doing all sorts of things. And so you gave me some really good advice. Hey, don't do anything that'll stress that lower back. Work around it. You made modifications. And so overcoming that was huge. I think in a program the last 16 weeks, you're going to get an injury maybe, or you're going to have time away from your total, or you're going to have time where you're on vacation, and keeping those macros are hard. If you don't worry about the perfect, don't let perfect be the enemy of really good. Just work around it. Do what you can. I worked around the back thing. The second is I plateaued weight-wise for a while. And when I say a while, it was probably a good 4 to 5 weeks. I just hovered right at that 20, 21 pounds loss. And at that point, I had moved the goalpost a little bit, right? I had wanted to hit that 25-pound mark. And I thought, okay, what do I really got to do? And I thought about things that I, done differently as the program went on. And I thought, okay, if I maybe just make some tweaks, or maybe just focus a little better, maybe don't have the glass of wine that, it's okay to have, but maybe I don't this time, right? Just what's more important to you? Is it hitting that 25 number, or is it the glass of wine tonight, right? So I got focused, and it took the month, before I saw the scale tick down again. The measurements were going the right way. So we would talk, and you're like, hey, measurements are still going the right way. Just relax. But it's getting over that mental block of, oh crap, this isn't working, and it's like, well, it is, but your body's gotta, it's going to be an ebb and flow. And so getting through those two things were hard. And I can see, this is because I had great mental fortitude. It's not that. I could absolutely see where there could have been a moment that I was just like, forget it. I'm gonna go have the Dunkin' Donut or whatever. But it really, you've gotta stay committed. It's 16 weeks, it's 4 months. You can do anything for 4 months. You can almost hold your breath that long if you really want it. Just give it the effort.
And I'm so appreciative that you kept with it. I think the most important thing is you stayed engaged with me, you stayed engaged with the community and the support. And a lot of people who are out there doing this on their own, they get that injury, or they go to that resort, or they go do those things, they get a bit off track and they can't course correct on their own. And that's where having great coaching and having a great community really come into play, because they hold you accountable. They help stay on the path. They give you the helping hand, the kick in the butt, the pat on the back. They tell you it's going to be okay, and they help you give you a plan and a direction for moving forward. And with the injury, yeah, it sucked. It wasn't fun, but you were able to work around, as I always say. Always work around. Don't try to work through the pain. Don't try to push it too fast or just tough it out. No pain, no gain. That's not the mentality. The mentality is, how do I do something without injuring this or making it worse, but still do something to keep the momentum going? One person once asked me this, hey, how do you recover after a long break off from an injury? And I said, I just don't take a break. That's the best advice you can get, is do something. It might be yoga. It might be going to a physical therapist. It might be just doing upper body or one-sided workouts or lower body only. But if you can just do something, it's going to not only help you mentally, but it's going to help you physically recover faster. And it's going to keep the habit and the routine and the identity that I'm somebody that doesn't miss a workout. I'm somebody who overcomes obstacles. I'm somebody who gets it done anyway. And that is way more valuable than just the benefit of actually doing the workout, right? It's that mentality and mindset. So you kept going there. Obviously, we gave you accountability and support. And then with the plateau, this is something everybody experiences, hitting that plateau number. But that's why we measure lots of different things. The more things you measure, the more opportunities you have to win. And when you see yourself winning, that's how you can still continue to move forward and progress anyway. Because you say, okay, well, weight-wise, I'm not seeing any changes, but my body measurements are moving. My photos look better. I'm getting stronger. So this is still working. There are positive benefits happening from this, even if the weight isn't moving. And then, yes, of course, you have to ask yourself, okay, what else am I willing to sacrifice? Am I willing to sacrifice this next thing? And some people are, and some people aren't. Obviously, you wanted to get to the next level, so you made some small tweaks and adjustments. And that's all it is. It's continuously leveling yourself up. Small incremental progress is how we get the huge compounding results. Some of our clients who've lost 100 plus pounds, how did they lose it? 1 pound at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time. And you just slowly build that incremental progress. And that's why we teach. It's one of our mantras. Everyone's heard me in the community say it 1,000,001 times, and I'll never stop saying it. Progress, not perfection, because you're not going to be perfect. We're trying to come up with solutions that are going to serve you for the rest of your life. You got to eat for the rest of your life. You got to work out for the rest of your life. It's not going to be perfect. This is not 75 hard. This is a training, a nutrition, a mindset program for the rest of your life. And it's going to be ugly at times. It's not going to be perfect, but if we make progress, you can really blow the doors off things. And you did that. So I'm really appreciative to you. I want to make sure I acknowledge you for all the hard work, the effort, for sticking to it, for staying engaged in the community and with the support, because that puts you in a position to succeed. And I can't thank you enough, Len. It's been an incredible journey coaching you. It's been such an honor and a privilege, and watching your transformation. And I've got to make sure I mention this, because this might be the most important part of the whole interview, is that you have the most incredible, awesome, and amazing and hilarious t-shirts I've ever seen.
Well, it's funny, right? So I started working out. I mean, I've always worked out off and on. When I got the tonal, I started buying. I think I bought one shirt, and it was the one that said, nobody cares, work harder. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to wear that shirt. And then I just have sort of kept accumulating more. And, my wife at one point goes, "Hey, if you're going to keep working out, I don't care if you get shirts, right? I mean, if that's the thing that keeps you going." But one of the things that's been great, and I think I'm going to dovetail it into something you said. The community loved it, right? So I posted the first picture and they're like, "Hey, nice shirt." And I've had that interaction with people at work. I've actually brought one of the shirts to Europe for a guy I work with, and he said, "Here's your shirt." And but the community that you have built, and I got to give you credit, coach, is fantastic, right? They hold you accountable, they have your back. Anytime I had a question, "Hey, I forgot to do this, should I do this and this?" I could post in the community, I'd have 6 answers. And what's great is they're consistent, right? "Don't worry about this, do this," or "Try this thing," or "Hey, I've been there. I know what you're worried about. You'll be fine. Keep doing what you're doing." And there's some people who are not afraid to show their vulnerability and not afraid to show the things that they're scared of. And that is so rare. And when you're in a journey like this, to have people out there that will laugh at your shirt or, high five you and say, "Dude, where did you get that?" Or "That's awesome." Or "That is a ton of volume." And Jeff and I think we're 1 and 2 on the Thuns Out, Guns Out challenge. And I still love the guy, but the fact that he beat me by like 100 pounds and did it at 8 o'clock at night, I could kill him. I could just kill him. But that's okay, right? That's, if I ever see him, I'm going to say, "I love you. I don't like you very much, but I love you," right? So it's just a great community. And I have really, more than anything, I've appreciated that level of support and care and compassion. It's just been fantastic.
Yeah, one of the things I realized a couple of years ago, because I used to never really have a community, and even if I did have the group, it wasn't that active. I didn't post in it that much. It was kind of just like an afterthought. And one of the reasons I started to really build it out was because I had this epiphany a couple of years ago when my mom passed. When I remember I was speaking to her and she said, "I want you to learn from my mistakes." And I was just thinking about her life and everything and the time we spent together. And I was just thinking about, gosh, like I've been working on this business. I've been doing this for like 8 years and I've hit a lot of major milestones, but I feel like I always kept moving the goalpost on myself and saying, "Man, when I make a certain amount of money, when I help a certain amount of people, when I get to a certain point, that's when I'm really going to enjoy it. That's when I'm going to finally say, okay, you deserve to feel successful, to celebrate yourself or celebrate your wins." And I realized in that moment after my mom passed, like, I don't know how much time even I have. You just never know what can happen any given day of the week. You could get in your car and you can never come home, or you can go to bed and never wake up. And I started to realize, wow, I think I need to start enjoying my life more. So a lot of the stuff I do in my program, in the coaching program, is a reflection of my own insufficiencies, my own inadequacies, my own weaknesses that I've worked on. And I need to work on my happiness and I need to work on enjoying my journey more. So I started to figure out and think about, how can I make this more enjoyable for clients, make them enjoy the journey more? Because I'd get these reviews where like, "Great, I lost this much weight. Jackson got me to my goal, this and that." But there wasn't this life-changing happiness. This wasn't this level of fulfillment in what they were doing. They were just happy with the results. And once I started to understand that taking some joy in the journey and how you get there is almost just as important as getting there, that's when I started to really enhance and really add in and lean into and pour into the community. And people started enjoying the process of getting to their goals a lot more. And that's when our reviews started to really ramp up from, "Hey, I got to my goal and I got 6-pack abs," to, "This has been life changing and the community's awesome and this is so great." And we started increasing our success rate even more. People started sticking to the program more. Our adherence rate went up. And really just the results we've gotten, people has gone through the roof. So the community has been such an underrated, I think, aspect. If you think about it, when you want to achieve an outcome or change a behavior, to join a group where that is the norm is just so incredibly powerful. And I realize that now. And one of the ways that I started my business was I joined a group of other people who were running businesses, who were all making 6 figures, training people ethically, morally, without selling supplements as like their only means of income. And I was like, I didn't even know this existed. holy cow, like I could do this as a profession. Wow, like I am in. This is amazing. And just to see people join the group and they start seeing people's photos and the before and afters or how much weight people are lifting. And they're like, whoa, I didn't know I could do this at 50 years old. Look at this guy. He's doing it. Like, why not me? That's really exciting for a lot of people. And you're right, the accountability and the support as well. It's just been amazing. So, and you've been a big part of that, a huge part of that. And the t-shirts, of course, are one of the best parts of that.
I
So
appreciate that.
of course, of course. So I want to thank you again for your time today. Is there any other topics, things you think are beneficial to chat about, whether it's obstacles you've overcome, mindset shifts, physical things, any tips, tricks, strategies, anything for anybody out there who's maybe early on in their journey where you were, 26 pounds ago?
I'm glad you asked. So I'm going to leave you with something that I'm going to admit that I stole, but to me, it's one of the most powerful things I've ever heard. So if we all know David Goggins, right? We've read the book or heard the story, but if you listen to the audiobook, which I think is the only way to hear him, he's got an epilogue, and I love the epilogue. So he went from a 300-pound exterminator to a Navy SEAL, and he starts by going that he believes in God. And he said, I believe when you die, God has a whiteboard. And on the whiteboard, he has everything that you could have been. You could have been a Navy SEAL. You could have been a world record holder. You could have, been a predominant national speaker. And he goes, when you die and you're sitting in front of that whiteboard and God has everything in front of you could have been. And you look at it and he goes, imagine if I'd have been sitting there as that 300-pound exterminator, as opposed to what I became. And he goes, at that moment, am I in heaven or am I in hell? And that 2-minute epilogue spoke a lot of things to me. And I think that anyone who's serious about getting personally more healthy, doing something different, think about that. Think about what you could be. I have a staff of about 20 people. I tell all of them, part of your workday is go work out. It doesn't have to be your lunch hour. It doesn't have to be, before work. It can be part of your day. The military's done that for years. Make it part of who you are. Get to where, you sit and you look at that whiteboard. I could have been more fit. I could have held a personal record. I could have been in the Jackson Hall of Fame. Get it. Do it. Don't be afraid to push for it. There's nothing wrong with pushing forward and trying and failing. The worst thing you can do is just not try. That's what I would do with.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. I appreciate that. That's really, really incredibly wise and a very powerful thought exercise for sure. Something I've thought about a lot as well. So thank you, Len. I appreciate you. Last time, I just want to say thank you again for all your hard work, for trusting me, for investing in yourself, for being such a huge, incredible part of the community, for your amazing t-shirts. It's just been a real honor and a privilege to work with you. I'm so blessed and grateful our paths have crossed. I really have the best job in the world. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. It was just my birthday. You guys all made this huge 10-minute video for me. I'm so blessed and grateful. I can't even believe where I'm at. I feel like I'm in heaven now, watching transformations like you, working with people like you. This is incredible. So thank you. Thank you for being so awesome. Thank you for sharing your story here. I know somebody's going to get some value out of this and it's going to inspire some people. So thanks again, Len. I appreciate you. Remember, out there, action is the difference between dreaming and succeeding.